Hi diddly ho, electronic neighbors, and welcome to my second update of 2026, I guess. And I'm feeling pretty chill and also determined, I suppose, at this stage of the year. It's been a minute since my last update, and I was really in a state of wanting to feel open to exploring in this coming year, and that is still very much the case. And I have done so much exploring already, and that openness has helped me find a little bit more direction than I had, I think, in the last update. I have started going to a gym again for the first time in many, many years, of course, since the spinal surgery. And so my health and fitness levels are steadily improving, which is always a plus. And often that, even just something as simple as that, improving your health and fitness, trying to eat a bit better, improves everything. It flows on across your whole life, doesn't it? And so I've been feeling better mentally, emotionally, and also in terms of just general fulfillment and satisfaction with how I'm going, how the year is unfolding for me. So I've learned that exercise is pretty important for my well-being. And in that light, I've started exploring movement modalities and movement frameworks more in depth. I mean, it's always been an area that has fascinated me. Um, as I've mentioned before, I've been in martial arts since I was a little kid, basically dabbling. I was a competitive gymnastics as a kid as well. Um, so, and I've loved movement my whole life. Definitely still, well, very keen to be diving back into yoga at the new gym that I've been going to, as well as body pump classes. So it's kind of a combination of weightlifting and aerobics to music, which has been really fun. I've really enjoyed that. Totally wreck myself sometimes, but learning our limits, especially after a big, basically body function changing survey like spinal surgery, that's going to be a learning curve, of course. Of course, continuing with the internal energetics as well, the breath work and the meditation. And I've started doing a little bit of volunteering with the Theosophical Society here in Melbourne, which I think I mentioned in my last video as well. So that kind of intermingling of mysticism and philosophy and esoteric frameworks. Again, it's stuff that I've been fascinated with my whole life. And I'm just so grateful that I have opportunities to explore that more in this lifetime. And in that vein, another big step for me is I have just completed last weekend my Reiki level 1 training. So I've got a Reiki level 1 certificate. I'm on my way to becoming a Reiki practitioner, which is very exciting. And in June, I'm going to be completing my level 2 certification for Reiki, which I'm very excited about. And of course, I'm going to continue exploring into other modalities as well. Resourcing permitting, of course. I have got my eye on a type of kinesiology that has been highly recommended to me. So I might explore that as well next. It's a matter at the moment of sort of balancing my sort of incomes versus expenditures. And I do want to prioritize training in all kinds of modalities, specifically those with a kind of mind-body integration aspect, as well as sound. So I would also love to get I suppose take a deep dive into sound healing techniques, for example, working with bowls and crystals and percussion. And I guess you could probably get that from my album last year as well, which, also incidentally, last year's album, Starseeds Wanted Inquire Within, turned 1 a few weeks ago, which was very exciting. And that whole process itself was just so amazing and really underscored for me the importance of interweaving the sort of spiritual, psychological, philosophical, and sound and frequency. And movement is very much going to be a part of that too. I know that as I continue to unfold, but also try to be open to flowing with where the inspiration takes me, where the curiosity takes me. I think that's going to be key for my journey. And actually this week, thinking about anniversaries, this week on the 28th, my music video, Saturn in Chinos, will be 1 year old as well. So it's a week or a month, ish question mark of birthdays. And that was so much fun to make as well. And I got to really explore the intermingling of sound and movement and philosophy. You know, if you have a look at the lyrics, they're quite philosophical and spiritual in themselves. And I really want to build on that moving forward. But I guess this year for me is really upskilling in areas that I haven't explored as much. So energy work for sure. I've also joined a kind of online community called Harmony Hub, which is based around a sort of teacher and facilitator who operates in the space of something called spinal energetics, which basically works with bioenergy of the body, specifically around the central nervous system, which is a really fascinating kind of, I suppose, expansion of really important biological processes. Bioenergetics is such a fascinating field and really ties in, of course, with health and well-being, the mind and movement. And she intermingles her spinal energetics work with different wisdom traditions. There are elements of shamanism and sound, and her stuff is really fascinating. And the online community she's building is really cool as well. A lot of very interesting people who are keen to talk about these sorts of ideas. So very glad that I joined that. And hopefully I'll make it to some of her events and maybe even some of her training later in the year. But definitely the Reiki coming up in June. I'm excited as a next step there, and possibly some kinesiology as well, or maybe acupressure. I think that would be another really interesting area to explore. But again, I'm trying to stay open whilst following my passion and my curiosity, my drive, because I've learned that for me, that is the most important part. Feeling inspired by what it is that I'm engaging in. That to me is the most critical aspect for my own health and well-being. Trying to push myself in areas that I am not drawn to anymore is not going to work. It worked when I was younger. It worked when I felt like, you know, I was a kid who had to eat their Brussels sprouts with dinner in order to get dessert. But the Brussels sprouts are just a figment of my imagination, right? There are no Brussels sprouts. There is no spoon. So why not just go straight for the dessert and see what kinds of amazing, wacky desserts I can make on the way as I continue to explore. So anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. I hope you also are having a wonderful 2026 that is inspired and you're getting what you are wanting out of your time that you have unfolding right now. It is such a gift, and I'm very grateful for that. And for you, if you happen to be watching this for whatever reason, thank you for your company, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.